My dad owned a triple-decker house in Boston, and we lived on the second floor. Our tenant was a woman with a son and daughter. When they first moved in, they had a tan-colored cat named Prince. He wore a really fancy bedazzled red collar with fake red rubies pasted on it. We have a cat too. She's a calico cat with patches of white, black, and orange on her fur. We couldn't figure out what to name her, but quickly we learned that she was really good at catching mice. Once she was done playing with them, she'd bring it to us in her mouth. That used to freak me out. So I named her Killy. Yeah, I know it's a stupid name, but aside from killing mice, she's really sweet. Prince and Killy are outdoor cats, and they seem to get along pretty good. One Saturday afternoon, my cousin Marlene came to visit us. We were having a good time until Killy walked in. Marlene's face changed once she spotted it. She pulled her legs to her chest and closed her eyes, shouting, "Is that your cat? Please, please, get rid of it. I'm scared of cats." I pressed my lips together, trying not to laugh. To me, her fear was irrational. What could my cat do to her? Killy is well behaved, but my mom told me to let her out so my cousin could feel at ease. I picked up the cat and took her out back through the kitchen and closed the door. Once Killy was out of sight, Marlene let out a sigh of relief. My mom apologized. "Oh, sorry, honey. I didn't know you were scared of cats." My cousin looked kind of embarrassed. She said, "It's okay. I've always been afraid of cats. I know it's dumb, but I can't help it." Me, being curious, I asked her, "Why are you afraid of cats?" She looked at my mom and me and said, "I know you won't believe me, but I don't trust cats. They're sneaky and..." Her voice trailed off a bit, and she said, "I shouldn't be afraid of them, but some cats are not really cats. Normally, we don't really like cats, but if you have a rodent problem, I guess they can be tolerated." My cousin continued her story. "You see, as a child, there was a strange orange cat that used to come around and try to sneak into our house. I'm not sure when it got inside, but it was hiding under my bed and reached out and bit me. My screaming brought my family in to see what was wrong. They looked down at my leg and saw blood trickling down to my ankle. It bit me hard. My papa lifted me into his arms and took me outside to tend to my wound. In a blaze of fur and tail, that cat ran out of the house and down the stairs. My brother screamed, "There it is, Papa! There's the cat!" For several weeks, this cat would lurk around the yard trying to sneak back in. We were on high alert now. I thought my cousin's tale was a nice impromptu spooky story in the middle of the afternoon. Marlene had a faraway look in her eyes, like she was reliving the memory. She continued on by saying, if there were no adults around, that orange cat would run through the yard really fast. To make matters worse, my parents told me that there are ordinary-looking people that live their lives normally in the day, but shapeshift into blood-sucking sukuyans at night. They sneak into people's homes and harm either small kids or the very elderly. Papa used special herbs and placed a bandage on the bite mark, but that cat would not stop trying to come around us. I couldn't eat, and I couldn't sleep. Well, one morning I woke up to find that orange cat in the corner of our living room, bound by its 4 paws. Mama said Papa caught the cat in the middle of the night, and they were planning to pour gasoline on it and set it on fire. The cat looked dead, but it wasn't. Its midsection rose and fell to indicate breathing, but it didn't move an inch. I didn't know when they planned on setting it on fire, but a little girl, looking to be about 10, that no one ever met before, appeared in our front yard, inquiring about a missing cat. My father asked the girl to describe the cat, and she described the exact cat tied up in our house. Papa said, "Oh, that's your cat? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, little girl, but I plan to set that cat on fire. That wretched thing bit my daughter, and it's been trying to sneak into my house. But now that I have it, I'm going to deal with it." "You can't have that cat back. So sorry to have to tell you." The little girl became desperate and started begging for my father to give her the cat. She even guaranteed that he would never see that cat ever again, but she couldn't return home without it. She said that her family purchased the cat and sent her to retrieve it. She promised if we gave her the cat back, that she would make sure it never came around us ever again. After several more minutes of begging and pleading, my father told her she could go into the house and take the cat home, but if he ever saw it again, he would hack it to pieces with no hesitation. As soon as she appeared in the doorway, the cat lifted its head weakly and meowed at the girl. The girl quickly glanced at me and my mother and walked over to it. Then she knelt down to untie it. Its paws were swollen from being tied up all night. We looked at her strangely as she struggled to pick the cat up. She acted as though the cat weighed a ton. Her feet shuffled as she carried it to the door. The girl's breathing became labored. She started to sweat even. She struggled to carry the cat to the front gate. With each step she took, the cat slumped lower and lower until they reached the street. She placed the cat onto the ground. It leapt up to its feet and took off as fast as it could. My mother looked over at my father, shaking her head in total disbelief. That was no cat. They both believed it was a sukuyan. Maybe that's why the little girl had a hard time carrying the cat. My mother said, although these people can shapeshift into small animals, they still weigh the same as humans. The story was fascinating. After Marlene left, I thought about it the entire evening. After dinner, I went out back and gave my cat a half-eaten chicken bone to snack on. Back in the kitchen, I washed my plate, then watched a little TV. While in the midst of watching my favorite show, my mom told me to take out the garbage. Why now? I hurried to the back door where the barrels were. I was going to drag the trash cans to the sidewalk for trash pickup in the morning. But just when I was about to turn the doorknob, I could hear my cat crunching on the chicken bone I gave her. Prince was back there too. He has a very distinctive meow. Ready to pull the door open, I heard someone whispering.
Where did you get the ball?
Who was back there talking to the cats? Placing my ear closer to the door, I heard another voice whisper back.
The girl that gave it to me.
The girl? What girl? I didn't give the bone to anybody but the cat. Letting go of the door handle, I took a few steps back. Were the cats talking? I took off running to my mother. I told her there were people back there, and I was scared to open the door to take the garbage out. How could I tell my mom I heard the cats talking? She wouldn't believe me. My mom went into the kitchen and snatched the back door open, only to find Prince staring at Killy, still working on her chicken bone. No one was back there. Seeing the look of fear on my face, my mom, who's usually stern, helped me take out the garbage. Once back inside, we went into the kitchen to wash our hands. My mom lingered in the kitchen a little while longer, and I went back to watching my show, but my mind was on the cats. The cats were talking. I wasn't going to even bother to tell anyone what I heard. My mom would only say it was just my imagination from when cousin Marlene told her story. But I heard them talking. I went into the kitchen to get something to drink. My mom was still in there with a worried look on her face. I poured myself some juice and was headed out of the kitchen when my mom said, "Hey, what you heard earlier?" I heard them too. The very next night, my dad asked me to come along with him to give our cat to a friend who wanted a cat. I refused to touch Killy. I won't overreact like my cousin did, but I fear cats too.